What up, Space Fam? Goes in here for AnimeUproar, and before I get into it, I just want to give a shout out to Briggs from All Day Anime. I got the idea for this video from his tournament bracket about badass old dudes he did a while back. I'll link that video in the description. Make sure to show him some love and let's get that man over 100,000 subscribers ASAP. He is so close if he hasn't hit it already by the time this video is published. He also has many other interesting tournament bracket videos on his channel which you can check out. This series is going to be different though. Rather than pitting the characters against each other, I'm just going to be breaking down some of the most badass old guys in anime and their badass feats. This video series, like some of my other videos about best geniuses and best revenge moments, is not going to be in a particular order. So don't get upset if your favorites aren't here. Just leave them in the comments and they will probably make an appearance in the upcoming installments. If we can get 3,000, yes that's right, 3,000 likes on this video, I'll start on the next one ASAP. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell or else you're definitely going to miss the next one. If you haven't, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram for more content and crucial updates about new seasons for your favorite anime. Keep in mind there will be anime spoilers and some manga spoilers in this video in case that actually bothers you. The reason I decided to do this video is because I am currently super obsessed with the knowledge and wisdom these elders have to pass on. When well written, badass old guys can be some of the most compelling characters in anime. They often serve as role models for the anime characters and for us as well. And currently I've been kind of obsessed with Yoriichi from Demon Slayer, so I thought that this video would give me a great opportunity to talk about him. So yes, let's get into it. Yoriichi is the Breath of the Sun user of legend in Demon Slayer. He is considered to be the strongest Demon Slayer in history. His fighting style, the Breath of the Sun, is considered to be the strongest. All other breath styles are supposed to have originated from this Breath of the Sun style. Furthermore, Yoriichi is the only one we know of who actually managed to corner Muzan until the latter managed to escape somehow. Muzan, the king of demons and pop, is the main antagonist of the Demon Slayer series. From the beginning of the series, he is presented as being extremely powerful. No one can really touch him. He survived for over 1,000 years. Some of his blood can create demons strong enough to kill pillars. At this point in the manga, he easily overpowers every Demon Slayer alive. And this is why Yoriichi's past accomplishments are all the more impressive. Yoriichi, as a human, broke all the rules. He was more powerful than the demon godfather Muzan and forced him to run away from him. He was supposed to die at the age of 25 because he awakened the Demon Slayer mark early, but he didn't. He was supposed to get weaker with age, but he didn't. When he was older than 80, he ran into his older twin brother who turned into a demon called Kokushibo so that he could extend his life and gain more power. In contrast to Kokushibo, who has not aged, Yoriichi has. He now has an aged and decrepit body. Obviously, no matter how strong he used to be, no one would expect that this old dude could beat his youthful looking demon brother. Demon blood enhances one's powers after all and allows them to stay at their peak physical condition forever in theory. Then Yoriichi surprises us all, including his brother, by beginning to cry and giving his sympathies to his demon brother. Yoriichi, even though he's old and on the brink of death, pities his youthful looking and practically immortal demon brother. Then he gets serious just as quick. Even though he's supposed to be well past his prime at this point, his speed and power is no weaker than it was when he was at his prime. He's just as strong. His aura alone makes Kokushibo, the strongest demon moon, feel as if rocks have come to rest on both shoulders. Yoriichi even tells Kokushibo when he's going to attack, so he can be completely prepared. Yet Yoriichi is so fast that even after the warning, Kokushibo doesn't even have time to draw his sword before his neck is cut. Kokushibo knows that Yoriichi is going to finish him off with his next blow, but Yoriichi dies of old age before the final attack comes. He dies standing up too, like another boss we'll get into in a bit. Right up to his final hour, he was the strongest fighter in the world. Even though he was past the age of 80, Kokushibo had to admit that Yoriichi's technique was nothing less than godly. Even though Kokushibo survived, he felt like he'd been defeated because the gap between their powers was so great. Like Muzan, Kokushibo is still haunted by Yoriichi's immense power centuries after his death. But even more than his overpoweredness, I love Yoriichi's personality. Even Even though he is, so far, the strongest demon slayer in history, and arguably the strongest character too, he was always humble. While the weaker Kokushibo talked big, the stronger Yoriichi always said he wasn't that great. Even at a young age, he considered himself but a line in the long, long book of human history. He knew that children would be born who surpassed him. This didn't bother him though. He didn't need to be the best or the strongest. He smiled at the thought that stronger demon slayers would come after he dies, and as a result, he could rest easy. He didn't need to save the world right away, or be the strongest ever. He was happy just playing his part, doing the best that he could. Even as a kid, when Kokushibo said he wanted to be the strongest samurai, Yoriichi was fine with being the second strongest. Yoriichi was a true stoic. He didn't need the universe to conform to his will to be happy. He was satisfied with doing his best and living an honorable, disciplined, and principled life. He didn't fear death or losing like Kokushibo. And even when he was at death's door, he did not pity himself, but his brother, whose fear of death and defeat had turned him into a monster. Yoriichi will always serve as a reminder to me that there are more important things in life than simply surviving at all costs, that paradoxically, you can become more successful if you let go of the desperate need to be successful and focus on the process instead, and that ultimately, even the best of us are just tiny blips in history, and we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. We should smile and enjoy the present moment because this breath might be our last. Next, let's talk about Whitebeard, an anime character who always stood out to me as being especially epic. He was known as the strongest man in the world and the man closest to the One Piece. Back in the day, Whitebeard aka Newgate was an orphan and his country was too poor to be a member of the world government. So he became a pirate at an early age and supported his village with the money he got from piracy. Even from the beginning, it wasn't about treasure. What Whitebeard always wanted was a family, and he got that in the form of the Whitebeard pirates, his crew. He viewed his men as his sons. He was also one of the few men who could battle on equal terms with Gold D. Roger, the Pirate King himself. He earned the Pirate King's respect, and Roger even paid him a visit to say goodbye before his death. In time, he was given the title of Yonko, meaning he was one of the 4 strongest and most dangerous pirates in the world. He was always doing amazing, selfless things. He went to Fishman Island and claimed the island as his territory so that peace would be restored to the island. In this way, he kept others like pirates and marines from harming the fishmen and merfolk. That's just one of many islands he protected in this way. And if it seems like he couldn't get any cooler, he named his ship the Moby Dick. As a huge fan of literature, I can't help but think that's awesome. He went on to take in his former rival's son Ace, and even made him a division commander. When told that he was his rival's son, he said it didn't matter because all pirates are sons of the sea. He took him in and promoted him even though Ace tried to assassinate him many times. He eventually turned Ace into the most loyal of sons. Now that is a boss. Then, when Ace got in trouble for trying to defend Whitebeard's name, Whitebeard showed up to try and save him even though Ace didn't follow orders when Whitebeard told him to let the insult go. During this moment, Ace tells his crew to leave because he ignored their warnings and brought this fate on himself. He didn't want to get them involved in his execution. However, Whitebeard says no, he sent him on that mission and he gets Marco to back him up. He is more interested in saving his son than anything else, so he is willing to rewrite history in a way that lets him do exactly that. For one of his sons, Whitebeard is willing to start the biggest war, and in the process, he makes the Marineford arc one of my favorite arcs in One Piece, if not my absolute favorite. The Fleet Admiral Sengoku even says that Whitebeard has the power to destroy the world. I don't know if there's anything more badass that can be said about someone than that. Someone even mentions that watching the battle at Marineford is like watching the end of the world. Keep in mind, during this battle, Whitebeard is 72 years old and still a complete badass. Whitebeard, who ate the Gura Gura no Mi fruit, was extremely OP. He could create powerful shock waves by shattering the air like glass. This ability allowed him to create earthquakes and tsunamis. Many more things can be said about his powers and skills, but as with Yoriichi, it's his character that impresses me more than anything else. Although Whitebeard didn't fear death and he was ready to die, he didn't even end up getting beat in a fair fight. Rather, first he was betrayed by one of his own allies and he couldn't react quick enough because of his deteriorating health. And even then, after he gets stabbed by his own man, he doesn't try to kill him. Rather, he hugs him and tells him he still loves him. even though he was stupid enough to get tricked into betraying him. As with Yorichi, Whitebeard knew he couldn't remain the strongest forever. It was enough for him to help his family and to help one young pirate achieve his destiny in life. For him, that's a complete life, and he accepts that some things, like family, are worth dying for. Not only that, he is so inspiring that his whole giant crew is willing to kiss their lives goodbye for him. When Whitebeard begins to charge, Sengoku says that the most dangerous man in the world is charging at them. Quite the compliment for a sick and injured 72-year-old. Whitebeard even goes on to help save our main protagonist Luffy, who unfortunately isn't strong enough at this point to actually beat the stronger Marines. Whitebeard and his crew do so well that even the unwilling Marine Garp, grandpa of Luffy and an extremely badass old dude in his own right, has to get involved in the fight, along with the fleet admiral Sengoku the Buddha. And you know that anyone with Buddha powers is insanely OP, more on that later. As the battle progresses, Whitebeard starts spitting out blood and Akainu tells him that not even he can defeat old age. After taking a bunch of swords and attacks, Whitebeard says, "You think you can kill me like this?" He pretty much screams that he's the Whitebeard as he cuts down everyone in front of him. He refuses to die until he's guided his sons toward a brighter future. It's not at all surprising that people call him a monster. Eventually, Luffy and Whitebeard do end up freeing Ace. They get his handcuffs off and everything. Even though his pirates are ready to sacrifice themselves for him, Whitebeard says that it is too cruel to make a father bury his sons. He says that everybody eventually grows old and dies. They did what they came to do, so he tells the Whitebeard pirates that it's time for them to part. His final order is for them to survive and return to the new world. He's met his fate head-on in the manliest way possible. He destroys Marineford, the home of the strongest organization in the world. He sacrifices his own life so that as many of his sons as possible can escape. Whitebeard succeeded. He opened up a window for Ace to escape. However, again, Ace decides not to follow orders and instead to defend Whitebeard's honor when Akainu insults him. Ace even dubs the name of this era Whitebeard. Then he sacrifices his recently saved life to save Luffy from Akainu's punch. Then Whitebeard comes in and saves Luffy by giving Akainu a satisfying and much deserved punch to his face like no one else could do. He completely brings the Navy headquarters building down and Akainu curses him. After losing half his face from Akainu's attack, he still has enough power to create a giant hole in the ground, separating the pirates from the Navy, giving them a chance to escape. It's not even the Navy that finally kills him, it's the Blackbeard pirates, who all need to team up to finish him off. And even then, Whitebeard has energy to say something really important. Whitebeard was never interested in the One Piece treasure, and that's why he didn't go get it. But he makes sure everyone knows that it truly exists before he dies. In this way, he encourages more people to become pirates and encourages existing pirates just as Gold D. Roger did before he died. All Whitebeard was interested in was getting a family, and he got one and gave his life in the end to protect it. He dies standing up, never falling even in death. We are told he will forever be remembered as a monster for the way he destroyed his enemies that day. In just this battle, he suffered 267 sword wounds and was hit by 152 bullets and even 46 cannons. That's right, cannons. And yet, his back and his Whitebeard tattoo received no wounds. He didn't even get one coward's wound, which happens if someone turns to run and gets stabbed or shot in the back while running. As we're told, right until the end, his pirate's pride stayed intact. Like Yorichi, Whitebeard was still a beast right up to his death, and he also knew that there were things worth dying for. Both accepted their fate and deaths bravely and unselfishly. Whitebeard is definitely what an old badass looks like at his best, and he will forever be remembered as a legend. Next, we have to talk about Isaac Netero from HunterxHunter. When he was younger, he was said to be the most powerful Nen user in the world. And like the other guys in this video, he retains incredible power even in his old age. He was the 12th chairman of the Hunter Association and the head of the exam commission. Although usually dressed in a kimono, he fought in shorts and a tight t-shirt that had the kanji for heart written on it. If you thought the previous badasses were old, Netero is over 110 years old. What I liked about Netero is that despite his really old age, he still had a childlike energy and playfulness. He was the kind of guy who got excited rather than scared at the idea of fighting formidable opponents. When told that he would be completely outmatched by Meruem, the Chimera Ant King, he replied that that was good news. He was thrilled at the idea of a good challenge at his old age. Now, enough introductions, let's jump to the fight between Netero and Meruem, one of my favorite fights in anime. During this fight, Netero shows off his Golden Buddha related powers. Meruem gives him a chance to escape alive, but Netero insists on battling his insanely powerful opponent. Even when Meruem refuses to fight back, Netero provokes him to attack by promising to tell the Ant King his true name. What Netero always sought was the height of perfection. His dream was to give his heart and soul to an unstoppable adversary, and that's exactly what he gets to do during this fight. Even though he appears to be completely outmatched, he still proclaims that their battle location will be Meruem's grave. Even as he's fighting the strongest being, he considers himself to be a lucky man, who is thankful for everything that led him up to this point. Even past the age of 110, he hasn't let the world beat him down, like so many people do. He hasn't become a pessimist, rather he continues to be positive and thankful. He's so thankful to have Meruem as an opponent that he even forms the shape of a heart with his hands and points it towards the Chimera Ant King. Even Meruem cannot help but feel unresolved admiration for this old badass when he witnesses his power. Meruem thinks that Netero must have yielded to an emotion akin to insanity in order to master this technique. For an extremely long time, he devoted himself wholly to that purpose. As Meruem proclaims, Netero is a rare example of someone transcending one's limits through sheer effort. No small compliment. Meruem commends the old man, and Netero feels insulted because Meruem is talking like he's so far above humans. Although Meruem is impressed, he still has no fear for his life. He is still not hurt after all of Netero's attacks. It just seems at this point like Netero can only prolong the inevitable. Eventually, Meruem manages to take Netero's leg. Again, Meruem is prepared to spare him. He just tells him to staunch the bleeding and to tell him his name. He again acts smug and tells Netero that he did good for a human. However, Netero is far from defeated. His drive does not diminish one bit, and he seals the wound in an instant. But then Meruem takes his arm. But again, Netero is not fazed. He just says that he'll pray with one hand and uses the attack zero hand. Netero concentrates all his aura into this attack, and Meruem looks wounded after it, but he's ultimately fine. He says the attack was brilliant, but it didn't even take a limb from Meruem. Meruem points out that he's a king and Netero is not. Of course Netero could never win. When Meruem is sure he won, Netero plays his final trump card. Netero should look worried and defeated, but he's not at all, and Meruem feels fear for the first time. Netero then stops his heart, which sets off a huge bomb inside his body. He says that the game was over before it even started. Meruem, with the help of his assistants, survives, but only temporarily. He has been poisoned, so Netero did manage to eventually kill this unstoppable adversary by sacrificing himself. Even though he was human, Netero actually ended up coming off as the scarier of the two. In his last moments, when he spoke of human malice, he was scarier than the Chimera Ant King could ever hope to be. We can go on and on about how amazing and deep this fight is, but the point is that an old man over 100 years of age managed to scare and eventually kill the superhuman creature that had the power to become the ruler of the entire world. And he did it in a tight t-shirt and shorts. The whole time, Meruem was so sure of his own superiority and the inferiority of humans, and yet, a human with the help of a human invention defeated him. Netero was excited to fight a seemingly unbeatable opponent, and he was ready to sacrifice his life from the start. Not only did he accept his fate, he took pleasure in the final battle, even knowing that he was surely going to die. HunterxHunter does a good job of blurring the lines between good and evil in this fight. But what can't be denied is that Netero comes off as one of the most badass old dudes in all of anime. And that is it for today's video. Remember, if we hit 3,000 likes, I will drop some more badass sage wisdom in part 2, so smash that like button like Netero smashed Meruem's pride. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you actually get notified when the new installment drops. For more content and crucial updates about upcoming anime seasons, make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. A big thank you goes out to our patrons over on Patreon who help make videos like this one possible. I especially want to thank our Pro Hero tier patrons, the one and only Gilgamesh, Nothing But a Fan, Jason Wilson, King Zeldris, Angel Cruz, Steelers, Poet Pablo, Atropos Wraith, Vididala Beat, Ekarat GN, and Anatoly Kazatsky. And are the 1-tier patrons, the ones who stand atop all clans: Steven Ingrata, Alola Anatem, Matty Mac 239, Makoto Kun, and Seth Cooper. If you enjoy our work, you can support more of it by going over to patreon.com/AnimeUproar and becoming a patron today for as little as $1. If you do so, you'll get your name featured in future videos alongside these badasses right here, and you'll even get access to our private patron-only Discord. So check out patreon.com/AnimeUproar, link in the description if you're interested. You can also now join the YouTube channel and support more content that way if you prefer, while still getting the same great benefits. Thanks again for everything, I really appreciate it, and until next time, see you, Space Cowboys.